Thank you so much, Diane. All right, so here I am again, and we're up for the next session. And with us, we have Carrie Craig, who's the director of IT at WD-40 Company. All right, Carrie, over to you.
Thanks, Karen. Let's give it up for the last two presentations, like Komodo and Sony. I feel nowhere near qualified to kind of follow that up, but I will try. I will give it my best shot. So maybe a little bit unlike the last two presentations, WD-40 Company is still in the midst of their digital transformation. So I'm going to walk you through kind of how we got to the place we are today. And I would love to hear any questions or questions you have at the end, and help me, and also maybe even just comments, like help me to understand what I don't know that I need to know in order to be successful in this. So a little bit about me, so you know, I, prior to WD-40, was the international applications manager at a medical device company in San Diego called Nuvasive. I was, as the international applications manager, I was responsible for about 13 different subsidiaries and their enterprise systems. And so on a regular daily basis, we ran a lot of ETL, SSIS packages to pull data for daily sales reports back to the US to consolidate all of that. There were 2 hops that we had to go through in order to get all that data kind of in a centralized place. With that, I had a pretty, I would say, big staff, and we had a pretty big development team to make sure all of that happened. So coming here to WD-40, where I'll talk about it, but we have a very small staff. It was important to us, just like Sony, to be able to enable people beyond a development skill set, right? To do data transformation and to move data. So that's super important from our perspective. And then I guess I'll just say, because I'm super proud of it, I am a former Marine logistics officer. I love San Diego, kind of came out here because of the Marine Corps and never wanted to leave. So I have been blessed to be here for the last 20 years. And a shout out to all of former service members, and thank you for your service. So I, like my colleagues, will go through very much the same agenda. And again, we'll invite Karen back in kind of to handle the Q&A at the end. So company overview. I am a brand ambassador for WD-40. Most of you might know, right? You have that product sitting in your garage and you pull it out for your squeaks, right? But do you know there are over 2,000 uses of WD-40? And I'll just tell you right now, stainless steel, it cleans stainless steel appliances like no other. Don't buy stainless steel cleaner. Use your WD-40 on your stainless steel appliances. But WD stands for water displacement, and 40 is our 40th try. We are a San Diego-based company. We've been in business for 68 years. We came to be, originally we were the rocket chemical company, and we came to be because NASA had a problem with their rocket ship and friction, and our product solved their problem. So with that, we have 2 major brand lines. So WD, which includes our 3-in-1 product, and then our household cleaners and home care products as well. But our why goes along with why we helped NASA solve their problem. We are in business to build positive, lasting memories in everything we do. We want to create products that are easy to use, right? And solve a variety of problems for people. We invest a lot each year in our innovation strategies, and actually we have a whole innovation team. You might not know this, but if you're a car advocate, as an example, our innovation team will sit outside a Home Depot and say, tell us about our product. How do you use it? What do you like about it? Right? And a mechanic came up to our desk one time and he said, I love your product, but when I'm trying to get to a really significant place in the engine, or I don't have a lot of product in the can. I have to try to flip the can over or move the can, and it's very, very hard, right? I can't do it. And that brought to light our flex straw, which is very, very innovative for our particular company. And we pride ourselves on that innovation, and we try to provide our customers solutions to really difficult problems that they might have. These are our values. And the reason I think this is very important is because I'm going to talk during our digital transformation again about our small team and what we do kind of to align ourselves with our strategic partnerships. So we do not have a large employee population. Believe it or not, there's only about 300 employees worldwide that service WD-40 company. But obviously, we're a global brand. Everybody knows us. And so we value doing the right thing, building positive, lasting memories, making it better than it is today, right? All while we're a tribe, very much working together to try to promote products that our users find valuable. We value acting on it and owning it, but these are in priority order. And I just want to point out is we value sustaining our WD-40 economy, but is our last value. So people are way more important to us than money. So challenges and opportunities. So again, relatively new to WD-40. I've been here a little bit over 2 years, but I will tell you, and I'm very, very proud to say this, the average tenure at WD-40 is about 10 years or so. And there are multiple employees that we've had that have been here 20 or 30 years. So I was asked to come on board to help in this digital transformation, and mainly my background in ERP kind of led me to this opportunity. And so when I did come on board, I did an assessment, right, of what there was today. And that they have a 20-year-old legacy ERP application, but they also have a lot of other legacy, I would say, supplements to that. They put a lot of customizations in their legacy application. And I think the old way of thinking, if you think back to the year 2000, when that product kind of came aboard, the old way of thinking was the ERP can do everything. It can do finance, accounting, human resource, order management, like it can do your CRM stuff, any sales type things. Like it was designed to be a jack of all trade, but unfortunately, like a master of none. So, kind of the new way of thinking when I looked at the portfolio was there are some strategic applications that when integrated together can work more seamlessly together and allow the users advanced functionalities that they wouldn't have if we tried to cram it all into one. And I think it is an education process here, but if done well, when you get to kind of start with a cleaner slate, which is a little bit what I had the opportunity to do, you get to say, these are our 3 strategic applications, 3 or 4, right? And these are the ones we're going to integrate, and we're going to do it in an agile fashion, just like Sony, right? We're going to show you how rapidly we can deploy things, and we're going to do it in a very iterative process, and we're going to include you in it. And we're not going to go off 6 months later and try to give you something that you don't want, because it's important from a customer service and delivery perspective, from an IT, that we make sure we're in constant communication with our users. So with that, again, in assessing some of the things they had and looking at their challenges, we particularly at WD-40 Company needed to remove, I think, a lack of, enable more visibility. I'll say it that way. Our front office and our back office needed to work more seamlessly together. Remove manual intervention. And we talk all the time, like we make a joke, we need to move from Excel to excellence. So everybody would pull different reports, become Excel wizards, try to marry it all together, right? And then I made the pitch a little bit because this was looked at as just an ERP project. I said, if I look at this as a portfolio, I don't think it's just an ERP project. I mean, we're putting in a new ERP. We're replacing some web applications, custom web applications that we have with Salesforce from a CRM perspective. We have a supply demand planning tool in Atlas that needs to be integrated more than it currently is. There are some ancillary applications, Core 360, FileBound, that need to be more integrated with our ERP. There's some capabilities you want that you don't currently have, OCR. Like, what do you do? This is definitely much more of a program. And if we don't consider it a program and we just consider an ERP implementation, we will have rework that needs to be done in order to come back in and add all this additional functionality that needs to be done in the end. And from an agile perspective, you can always take a really large project and break it down into smaller chunks and deliver more phases, right? And make it more, instead of this huge project that nobody knows about, right? Like, make it more of an interactive project with releases and every 3 months giving the user something new, right? So while the ERP project itself might be a little bit more lengthy and we can still run some portions of that agile, there is all this other functionality that we can deliver to our business users in the interim. So that was our aim. Again, the manual intervention that we have 36,000 orders a year that kind of go on manual hold that need to be released. So we need to clean that up. There's just a lot of time spent pulling reports. We have sales managers that don't have real visibility into real-time data. If they had any data, it's day-old data, which I would say that's not the way of the future. More real-time is the way of the future. And then we just had a customer service team that was continually fighting fires, right? So as we looked at our portfolio, we said, we want to create a portfolio that aligns our ERP and our CRM better together. And there are some collaboration points that we need to really hone in on if we're going to set our customer service team up for success. So they're the bridge between our front office, our sales and marketing team, and our back office, our finance accounting team, our supply chain team, our manufacturers, and our distributors, which our manufacturers and distributors are all outsourced. So that is a complete outsourced model. So we wanted to kind of, from a collaboration perspective, really focus in on, there are about 16 different areas, but if I had to combine them all together to tell you what those points are, it's pricing, orders, delivery, billings, collections, and then enabling more data analytics, more real-time data as quickly as possible. So this is an example of our current architecture. I don't really expect you to pull out your binoculars and read all of it, but I think what's important is everything in blue is our ERP. Everything in that yellow font is our CRM, right? And again, it was a custom web CRM. It also enabled some things on the billing side. So like we had like a HQ apps and an HQ deductions. So we take a lot of deductions off invoice, or even allowing certain sales incentives, right? And a lot of that is manual with little automation, and we're trying to kind of bridge that gap. So I think more importantly, as I move over to the proposed, right? And I want to point out, so our CRM and then our ERP, and we look really more in depth on where I felt like SnapLogic would help me to provide more visibility between my front office and my back office. It's around pricing and promo management, right? Because your marketing team sets that. And it is set most of the time in the beginning of the year, right? And it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone, but it literally was kept or has been kept in Excel, right? So it needs to be much more prominent to both the front office and the back office. And then our customer portfolio, I'm extremely proud to be part of an organization who really doesn't pay their sales reps based on commissions. It's really a little bit more about, of course, they have to get new business. Of course, we need to grow, but how do you keep your current customer base happy, right? If you're going to keep them happy, you need to know what their pain points and their problems are. If you don't have access to their order history, if you don't have access to their portfolio, if you can't look to say, hey, they're waiting for this shipment, and we all have logistical issues right now because of COVID, right? They're waiting for this shipment. When are they getting their shipment? They don't have visibility to that. Although we have it in our ERP system, that truck is sitting on their dock waiting to be unloaded. Sales reps don't know. Or Amazon, a great customer of ours, has a credit limit, and they do a bulk buy, and every quarter they'd go over their credit limit. And it was IT who finally said, hey, why aren't we increasing Amazon's credit limit? Because every quarter when they do a bulk buy, their orders go on hold. Has anybody noticed that? Right? And so the sales rep really doesn't have visibility to all of those things. So we wanted, as we went through this digital transformation, we want to give them the visibility they need to do their job without having to call the customer service team. So all of these things became very logical to me, that made sense in how to improve their business process and give them what they need to better serve our customers. So that means if we don't want to have a big team, and I don't have a development team, and we're not going to bring a development team in-house, how do we provide more real-time relevant information to our sales team from our back office quickly? And what do I do? So we went through a complete request for proposal from multiple places: SnapLogic, Jitterbit, Boomi, and MuleSoft. And I was very upfront. I said, we will please, we're going to go through a whole demo process. These are our scenarios. And very upfront, we do not want to be in a place in order to sustain and support this application that I have to pull in a whole new team. So SnapLogic stood out from the rest because the tool and the UI were extremely intuitive. I could look at it and know that a BA with a very technical, with a technical curiosity could look at that tool and be able to create their own integrations quickly. So again, what was important to us was keeping our footprint small. So we wanted a SaaS solution. We are all cloud-based. We want to be able to scale and deliver to our customers quickly. We want a UI that is intuitive. We're only going to try to create integrations in real-time data on our strategic applications, and that for us, ERP, CRM, EDI, and maybe and a tool that we use for supply demand planning called Atlas. Secure APIs. So we do a lot of SFTP, which is great, but I would also tell you it's not for everything, right? And SnapLogic still offers us that capability, but we would like a little bit more error handling and the ability to do some API calls and build and deploy connections point to point that enable our users. And then our cost value, we all have that problem, right? Everything we deploy needs to bring us value at the lowest cost possible. And SnapLogic, to their credit, agreed to do a proof of concept with us, which went really well and proved that they could meet these requirements. So from an integration perspective, a lot of what I kind of already alluded to here is our ERP selection is Microsoft Dynamics F&O, and we needed to connect Salesforce as our CRM. We very much needed the ability to move a lot of legacy, even Microsoft SQL Server databases into a data warehouse as well, and be able to do that very easily. And then all of our customers. So some people may say, well, EDI is a little bit of an older technology, but all of our customers dictate to us what technologies we have to use in order to do business with them. And believe it or not, EDI is still very much the technology of choice. So that was important to us, that we made sure we could still provide everything that our customers were used to, and be able to move data as quickly as possible. And then normalizing data. So I think in transforming data. So I think all the global partners, right, have kind of already talked about the fact that you have to enable people to, this is the cost of being in business today. If I am in the US and I have a number, a dollar, right, a decimal point is used. If I'm in EMEA, a decimal point is not used. There's a comma that's used, right? We have to be able to quickly kind of take our users' problems and solve them and move them and move the data and transform the data the way they need to see it. And then we need to look for applications that will localize for them, provide different language options, right? And provide different regionalization features that are important to them. So those were mainly our two business cases that we used. There were 6 total business cases, but I think those two are very relevant and probably were the highest priority for us. And then our outcomes, right? Limited infrastructure to support. So not only from an applications perspective, do I allow my business users or a business analyst, right, or a college grad who's really excited about technology to kind of come in and make a difference right away. But I also help my IT ops team, who doesn't have to sustain and support, a host of servers, and patch those servers and run regular maintenance on those servers. So for us, the SaaS capability was extremely important. I would tell you, from a cost benefit analysis, the limited barriers to entry, and just in order to even get up and running and try it, it is extremely cost effective. And then we obviously reduce our time from a development staff perspective and reduce our headcount. So those have been so far our biggest outcomes. I suspect, and there will be more as we continue through our journey. But at this point, I'd like to invite Karen back in, and we can kind of talk about the resources that SnapLogic will provide for you if you're interested in doing kind of what we did, which is considering them for our digital transformation.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for sharing with us your journey through digital transformation at WD-40 company. All right, so some of the resources that I want to part with before we break up the breakout sessions. If you're interested in using SnapLogic and you don't have access to SnapLogic yet, sign up for a free trial. It's 30 days for free. And for those developers, integrators who just want to get your hands wet, learning more about SnapLogic, how to build out your first pipeline, we have complimentary training and getting SnapLogic certified for free on a limited time offer. And don't miss out any conversations with your peers through the SnapLogic community. There are a lot of customers, employees, partners are in there day in, day out, asking questions and also offering suggestions, tips, and best practices. And finally, we also have a 16-page blueprint for those who are just getting started with SnapLogic. That blueprint has all the information you need to deploy SnapLogic in your environment fairly quickly. All right, so let's move on to the Q&A section. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments section. Right now, I have a few questions for you, Carrie. All right, so you mentioned that you were evaluating for an iPaaS solution. What really stood out to you in SnapLogic over other solutions that you were evaluating?
Again, low code to no code. I mean, could I hire a college grad who really likes technology and say, you become the expert on this particular technology? And would they be excited about it? Yes. Would they love it? Yes. Would they try to promote it? Yes. Could we take a business analyst that maybe might question, right, their technical capabilities? Would they be able to do it? And I would 100% promote all of your resource, your train. Like SnapLogic is great in saying, yes, we will train your people. That's included, right? All of those resources, we'll train as many people as you want. We have a certification process, right, which is amazing. So there was a lot of hands-on to get those business analysts users up to speed very quickly. So
All right. I know that, WD-40 company's culture is very unique, and it's very exciting to hear about, all the different uses on your products. So how complementary is SnapLogic to the company's culture? You talk about, finding talent within your tribe. Can you explain a little bit more about that?
that is a great point, Karen, right? So when you have employees that have been at WD-40 for 20, 30 years, their skill set on a technology platform might not be as, I guess, up to certain standards as you might think, right? They've been using the same technology forever. It has to be an application that's easy to use, because change is hard. Like, they're like, what's wrong with this application? We've been using it for 20 years, right? Yeah, we have to grow and we have to kind of get better. And I think everybody at WD-40 is all up for the change, but I do think it's still scary. So any technology that we can kind of give them that makes it easier for them to adopt and easier for them to see the value of right away, especially for an agile team like us, I think that's really important. So very much your company 100% goes along with our values. Sustaining our economy, you should really do a cost benefit analysis. I will tell you, I 100% think there's something to be said for this technology, which lends itself to the technology of the future, where you don't need a whole dev team on staff to move your data quickly, which still would take a few days, and efficiently.
That is great to hear, Carrie. All right, last question before we break out. So we know that you're in the middle of your digital transformation with your ERP and CRM systems. How do you envision SnapLogic helping, through WD-40's technology stack and ecosystem in the future?
Well, let me just tell you really quickly, like, while we are in the midst of all of this, we're not done, but we are still rolling out certain features of our CRM, and SnapLogic has been a huge help with that already, to connect to our legacy applications, which are really hard because our legacy ERP doesn't have an exposed API, right? So it is not easy to get data out of and pull data from our legacy ERP, which we need to in order to get certain features and functionality of Salesforce up and running and moved out for our users already. So we are in the process. Like Monday, we had our first go live within the project for CRM. We have 2 more go lives kind of set. So from an agile perspective, if anybody tells you you can't do an ERP or CRM project agile, you contact me and I'll have a discussion with them. So you can, and your product has already been tremendously helpful in that. I will also say, and as part of our values, making it better than it is today, is the entire team. So that between Regina on the sales side, and at the time it was Brian, who was our sales rep, they were committed to making this all work for us, using the cloud instead of moving to on-prem because of some of these issues we had. They were committed. And I believe, well, you created a custom snap for us for F&O. And it seems to me, based on your first presentation, it's almost now part of your portfolio. So I'm proud of that.
Thank you so much, Carrie, for your session and your responses. All right, so attendees, if you want to hear more about WD-40 Company or Sony from Carrie and Jonathan, they'll be at the customer panel later this afternoon. So they'll be sharing more of their experiences, their more commentary as you delve into the agenda later on this afternoon. But for now, we'll break into a 15-minute break, and be sure when you come back from the break, we have demo workshops so you can learn more about the in-depth capabilities that SnapLogic platform can provide to you, like ultra flows, data integration, and so forth. And we also have partner sessions so that you can learn more about how complementary we are and how we work with various partners. All right, thank you so much.